Shalom. Call halal Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of JMS, including the elders that came before them and taught us his truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word and truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to you as well. We're going to start right here with this escalation, right? Things are about to escalate greatly, all right, to the point of chaos, all-out chaos everywhere. Okay, so this is Joel 3. I'll start at 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. All right, that hasn't happened yet. It's happening as we speak. When more bombs are being dropped in certain areas, Belarus wants to come in from the flank. They're getting involved. So it's not just quote unquote Russia against Ukraine. You got NATO in there. You got the EU. You got Babylon the Great. Now the allies of Russia, China, all right, Belarus, Chechnya is mobilizing. Okay, not that they're not already there. Everybody's already there. Okay. Jump down to 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Okay, for the cause the mighty ones to come down on the Lord. So, what we're watching, okay, as you'll find out, it's not as though it's not already going on. It's going to escalate. Let's get escalate. Military escalation. Okay, meaning on the surface. Escalation, a deliberate or unpremeditated increase in scope or violence of a conflict. Okay? Let's look at this. Escalation, U.S. DOD definition. Okay, let's see. Same thing. A deliberate, unpremeditated increase in scope or violence of a conflict. There it is. Okay? And that's what we're seeing. All right, so let's watch this. This just, look, 14 minutes ago. Let me update it. Might be a little more than 14 now. Let's see.
Before Russia invaded Ukraine in February, they said,
yeah. Okay, 23 minutes ago. This is breaking news. Don't speak news, Johnny Storm. Let's see. This is 23 minutes ago. Active duty U.S. Special Forces officers eliminated, killed in the Donbass, and more war news. What is U.S. doing over in the Donbass? Special Forces at that. Is Babylon already in this war? Answer is yeah. Right? If this proves to be true, then Russia has their smoking gun proving U.S. active duty military are directly involved in the fighting. This is huge. Okay, what does this guy say? If this report is true, then this is really big and just gonna escalate even more. Let's listen. And he's got some other news. Let's just go ahead and get a little update. Thank you, Johnny.
well, for the first time, we have active U.S. Special Forces being eliminated in the Donbass region of Ukraine. Everyone, Johnny Storm, don't speak news. Let's just get right into it. Well, this is what their spokesperson, this first Deputy Minister of Information for the DPR, this Daniil Beznanov, this is what he is saying. That a group of foreign English-speaking mercenaries numbering more than 10 people, among whom were active duty officers of the American Special Forces, made a sortie to our distant observation post in the village, Pologi, in the Zaporizhzhia region. There were 3 of our fighters at this observation post who had to retreat. After the mercenaries entered our position, terrible things began to happen to them because our fighters brought reinforcements with them and began to knock out the mercenaries. The Americans decided to retreat to their own, but on the way, their Slumpstepok hit them, their flamethrower, in other words. And now there's a video here that you can view on Telegram that allegedly shows these officers in battle. Of course, they're wearing the Ukrainian blue identifiers. I've seen all kinds of reports like this before, guys, but this is the first alleged proof that Russia's been providing. There's a woman among them there, as you can see. Now, we don't hear them speaking English, but apparently the military who engaged with them did. So the presence of the American officers in Ukraine indicates that the United States is directly involved in the conflict, which of course will receive a harsh response from Moscow, as they say here. And so now, if this is true, I would imagine their Ministry of Defense, maybe even Putin himself, will bring this up, and the war may expand. We'll see. We shall see. But I've known about this for a while. There's also British SAS in there. All kinds of different NATO special forces are embedded basically with the Ukrainian military. They're helping to direct the counterattacks, the counteroffensives against the Russians. We've known this for a while, but this is the first so-called proof that they're showing us. But take it with a grain of salt, like I said, because this is a Russian source. But the representative of the DPR from their Ministry of Information is the one presenting it. So I'll put the link up as always. I may just go ahead and translate this one and put it on the website, because this is a big deal if it proves to be true. Then we also, from the same website at avia.pro, there's unknown NATO fighter jets circling the border between Poland and Ukraine. So now NATO fighter jets are circling the border between Poland and Ukraine. And about an hour ago, several NATO fighters flew to the border between Poland and Ukraine. The latter were located near the Ukrainian border for a long time with transponders turned off. However, their location was given away by a tanker aircraft that appeared sometime later. The reasons for the appearance of NATO fighters on the border of Poland and Ukraine remain unknown. However, experts do not exclude the latter may well be used to intercept cruise missiles.
Going back into the fact that NATO is fighting a war. The United States is fighting a war, okay, already, right? And they're keeping it under wraps. Do you think that Vlad doesn't know who he's fighting?
From the Black Sea and airspace over the Caspian Sea. Yes, and the Biden administration and the Pentagon has promised Ukraine more air defenses against all these Russian bombardments, which continue. And we'll get to that in a second. So it's known that after refueling in the air, the refueling aircraft went to a military air base. However, NATO fighters continued to fly in the border area with Ukraine. It should be noted that the intensive flight of the NATO fighters near the border with Ukraine has increased over the past 72 hours. Very interesting, I thought. What exactly caused this to happen is unknown. However, according to a number of data, the latter can carry out escorted military cargo following from Poland to Ukraine. Yeah, well, if Russia decides to take it out with a SAM missile, I don't know how they're going to stop that. But anyway, there it is. Now, at the same time that these aircraft are circling, this is another reason I found this very interesting. Near the borders with Poland and Ukraine, there's this story here. NATO to hold nuclear exercise despite Russian warnings. So now NATO will push ahead with their long-planned nuclear exercise next week, despite rising tensions over the war in Ukraine and President Putin's insistence he's not bluffing about using all available means to defend Russian territory.
This is probably where the 9/11 thing happens, okay? The FF, the F flag, okay? Why? Why would you do this anywhere in the area, okay? Are they talking about doing something near this theater of war? And to be doing this right now, what? I mean, this is nothing but muscle flexing, letting you know. And the men of the Lord, we're like this. Yeah, buddy. Can't wait.
Size dubbed Steadfast Noon is held annually and usually runs for about a week. It involves fighter jets. like we saw here, maybe? Just saying. They always seem to hold these exercises either right before or right after something happens, for real. So this exercise, dubbed Steadfast Noon, is held annually. I guess we just said that. It involves fighter jets capable of carrying nuclear warheads, but does not involve any live bombs. Not yet. Conventional jets and surveillance refueling aircraft also routinely take part, which is another thing I found interesting, because we also had refueling aircraft involved in these border flights along the Ukrainian-Polish border. So 14 of the 30 NATO member countries will be involved in the exercise, which was planned before Russia invaded Ukraine in February, they say. The main part of the maneuvers will be held 625 miles or 1,000 kilometers from Russia, according to NATO. And they said it would send a very wrong signal if we suddenly canceled a routine, long-time planned exercise because of the war in Ukraine. That would be absolutely the wrong signal to send, according to NATO Chief Stoltenberg. He says NATO's firm, predictable behavior, our military strength, is the best way to prevent escalation. Oh, really? You mean the United States military strength, right? Because you guys don't have any kind of army to speak of. So if we now created the grounds for any misunderstandings, miscalculations in Moscow about our willingness to protect and defend all allies, we would increase the risk of escalation. So in other words, a bunch of BS saying that if we don't hold these exercises, Russia will think we're weak, which it is what it is. More posturing, but nonetheless, I found it interesting that these exercises are beginning right when this happens along the border of Poland and Ukraine. Just saying, I keep my eyes on all this stuff for a reason, to try and put together little patterns I might see, so I can show them to you. And then we have this, oops, wrong one. Tuesday, October 11th, once again, Russia is slamming Ukraine with more missiles. You can see here a power station on fire. Tuesday, October 11th, and Ukraine did not begin with coffee. It began with another barrage of Russian ballistic missiles.
Boom. Okay, who's saying that? Is anybody saying, this is day 2 of bombing the shit out of the Ukraine? Okay, is anybody saying, I haven't seen anything until this came up right now. Okay, and this is within the hour.
And they're coming in as you read this story at 6:48 a.m. Eastern. This morning, missiles hit infrastructure facilities of the Odessa region, and that's a big area where NATO officers were actually stationed helping to direct this war. Ukrainian air defenses did not help, apparently totally suppressed by Russian electronic warfare systems. So Ukrainian social media channels are also talking about missiles over Kiev for yet another day. And so another salvo of Russian missiles has been fired from the Caspian Sea, and still more have been fired from inside Russia's Kursk region. So I'll let you read the rest on your own, but it continues, guys, and it's expanding. So you just have to ask yourself, when will it expand into NATO proper? Because at some point, Poland and all of them are going to get hit. So at 8:36 a.m. Eastern Time, an update here this morning, the United States and its allies, while continuing to supply weapons to Kiev, have come close to the red line, according to Russian ambassador to Washington, Anatoly Antonov, said in a comment. We call on the United States and its allies not to cross the red lines that they have come close to. Stop pumping the Kiev regime with lethal weapons. This will only lead to new casualties and destruction, further prolonging the conflict. Well, no doubt, but they're going to do it anyway, until Russia makes them stop. So now we have panic in Kiev. Thousands are fleeing. As every single road out of Kiev, Ukraine is absolutely jammed with traffic, as citizens have begun to panic over the Russian missile attacks and are trying to flee the city.
5:32, пробка, машин дофигища, еле едем, по сути, практически стою.
And so there you go. And then at 9:46, something really big got hit in Ukraine. Look at that.
Wow.
Wow. Don't know what that is, at least not yet, but doesn't look good. So Ukraine is getting pounded, guys. Russia has definitely taken the gloves off this time after their bridge in Crimea, or to Russia from Crimea, was hit. So they said they were going to increase the attacks and start hitting the infrastructure in Ukraine, and they're doing just that. And as you can see, the Ukrainians are fleeing, trying to get out. So there you have it, guys. NATO's holding nuclear exercises despite warnings from Russia. We have unknown NATO fighter jets circling the border between Poland and Ukraine, just as these nuclear exercises are beginning, right? And then we have active U.S. Special Forces officers that have been eliminated in the Donbass. So all kinds of stuff continues to happen, but I'm not going to report on everything I see about this war because it's, a lot of it's just more fear porn, more hype, more propaganda. But when you have the UN ambassador or the ambassador to the US from Moscow, from Russia, saying that stop this or else, it's time to start paying attention. But of course, they're not going to. So I highly advise you stay prayed up and prepped up at all times. Prayed up first because you don't know, what's going to happen next. You can't prepare for every scenario. So make sure you know where you're going when you leave this life because the next step is eternity. So seek Jesus Christ now.
All right, enough of that. You don't know who you're talking about right there. His name is Yahweh Shai. All right, so that's pretty good news update right there. All right, and it's up to the minute. You understand? What does it mean that there's more bombing today, and then this is the latest news out and nobody's saying a damn thing? Okay, it means a whole lot. So, and I wanted to add something because I noticed something being a watchman right now. Okay, so let's see if we can find. Let's see. I want to find Ukraine. Bombs. Belarusian. Bridges. Okay, because what I heard was Ukraine bombed the entry and exit bridges that lead into Ukraine, and then the one in Crimea was bombed too. So is that an operation? Are they working on something right now? Are they trying to cause anything? One day Russia strikes civilian targets. No. Crimea Bridge. Blast Crimea. So they're going around the Crimean Bridge. Yeah, this is all Ukrainian cities bombed. See how they're blaming everything on Russia. Russia's the only one doing anything. Blaze. So when they don't want you to see something, you have to search on a different level. So let me do that real quick. See, they're hiding it. They're hiding what they're actually doing. You can't find it. Crimea. It's all Crimea Bridge. It's not what I put in the search bar. Sometimes you got to go way down. Crimean. 3 days, 4 days. Right here is Belarus going to invade. Okay, so we'll go to a regular search here. Let's go here. Let's type in Ukraine. Bombs. Belarusian bridges. See if we can get something here. Russia bombs Ukraine. See, there's nothing like that in there. Ukraine bombs Belarusian bridge. Why are they talking about Russia? right here. Okay, see how you got to go looking for it? Massive Ukrainian blast cripple border bridges with Belarus. Okay, so when you put this together with the Crimean bridge bombing, what is Ukraine doing? Or not so much Ukraine, when it's clear that Babylon, which is the United States, you got NATO, and you got the EU over there. What are they doing? And why are they hiding it? Why do you got to fine tooth comb this? All right, this is yesterday. Massive Ukrainian blast cripple border bridges with Belarus. Okay? Ukrainian forces are destroying nearly all bridges along the Belarus border. Why do you have to hunt for this? But all you can see is what happened in Crimea. Well, whatever happened in Crimea is part of this. Okay, on the northern border. Okay, and they're not saying anything about this. Okay, so it says today almost all border bridges have been blown up, and automobile and railway border routes are completely mined. This is what I heard. Okay. It says the official also stressed that Ukrainian forces have fortified the border to the point of putting anti-tank mines in 3 rows on the roads. Okay, so why is this not in mainstream media? Okay, so all of this, okay, including the blast in Crimea, is all part of whatever strategy that NATO, the EU, Ukraine, and the United States are doing to counter, including the Crimean. Who blew up the Crimean bridge? Who did that? Okay. Well, the answer is the West. All right, but they're sure not saying nothing about it. All right, they're keeping it quiet. All right. So anyway, good enough. I just thought I'd point that out. What are they up to? We'll know soon what this operation is about. But they sure are keeping it quiet. But some of us are watching. Okay, we're watching closely. All right, and it's not a one-sided thing. Why are you keeping this quiet? And big up in other things. Diverting. That's a diversion. All right, so with that, let me see. Oh, that's good. All right, hey, World War III is here. Let's just get that on the way out. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past. Behold, the third woe is coming shortly. All right, if it hasn't already started. All right, so with that, we hope that the elect were edified. You brothers and few sisters, with that, we're going to say shalom.